Hey, groovy guys, groovy girls, the Percy Faith Strings, the Beatles album, is where it's at. This is where it's at in 2020. We're all filled with anxiety. So please vote. If you haven't voted, go vote. It's too late to vote by mail because some people are trying to suppress the vote. So it should be where if things are postmarked, your ballot is postmarked, it should be counted. But there's a group of people that are trying to suppress the vote. So you need to go down, drop your ballot off, or vote in person. But please vote. Whoever you vote for, just vote. Whack-A-Mole number 82, No Percy Faith. Whack-A-Mole is 5 random picks of records, and this is Whack-A-Mole number 82 in the record library. That's good. That's good. So, without further ado, let's do some random picks. Prestige Records, great jazz label. One. Two. Three. Four. Five. Okay, this is not cheating. This is just this is perfect, really, because this first one is a perfect record. Perfect record from 1968, or just 67. One of my favorite records out of the San Francisco band. It's actually a band from the East Bay, Country Joe and the Fish. I feel like I'm fixing to die. Come on, all you big strong man, Uncle Sam needs your help again. Got himself in a terrible jam way down yonder at Vietnam, so pick up a gun. We're going to have a whole lot of fun, and it's 1, 2, 3. What are we fighting for? Next stop is Vietnam. Country Joe Joe McDonald, lead singer, and 4 Jews. Chicken Hirsch, David Cohen, Bruce Barthol, and Barry Melton, the Fish. Barry Melton is the Fish. And of course, the original version came with the Fish game. Right? My original copy, we cut up and we actually played this game. So, the Fish game. I don't want to rip it here. Ooh. Well, anyway, the Fish game. This is a beautiful record. There's a song on here called Janice. It opens up side 2 that Joe McDonald wrote for Janis Joplin. They hooked up. They had a little romance at one point. Magoo, Colors for Susan. Eastern Jam's a beautiful guitar instrumental, very Eastern in sound, psychedelic, not unlike Paul Butterfield Blues Band East West. Who Am I? A gorgeous, gorgeous song. So this is their second album. A lot of people into the psych world prefer the first one, Electric Music for the Mind and Body. I think I prefer this one, although that first record is so good. And the Fish game, there's the Avalon. As the Avalon Ballroom, Chet Helms's concert venue that was sort of a competition, but friendly competition at the Fillmore West, Bill Graham, the Fillmore. The Byrds, Ballad of Easy Rider. This is 1969. This record was put out, and the song, The Ballad of Easy Rider, was put on it to try to get some play because the Byrds' music was in Easy Rider, and Easy Rider was such a huge film. This is a great album. Has the Byrds' version of Jesus Is Just All Right, which is kind of a great pop song, religious Jesus album. This is a Columbia 2i original copy I bought in 1969 in stereo. That song is Just All Right was covered by the Doobie Brothers some years later. Again, Terry Melcher produced this, son of Doris Day. This is a period of time when John York was on bass. I think he's only on 1 or 2 records, and then he got replaced. But the great Clarence White is all over this record. His guitar playing is wonderful. Deporte, a song that I believe Woody Guthrie made famous too. Armstrong, Aldrin, and Collins about the space program. Remember, because this is the year that we first landed on the moon. So the Byrds, the Ballad of Easy Rider, they played up, and this actually charted, had done better than some of their previous albums, recent previous albums up to this point, because they were in a bit of a slump, not musically, not professionally, but commercially. So Columbia Records, the Byrds, my second favorite all-time band. My favorite San Francisco band is Jefferson Airplane. Now, this is the later period of Jefferson Airplane, which is okay. Some people like this record. I think it's a little weak because this is when Papa John Creech played violin in it. And, you know, the old joke of Papa John Screech, his violin playing was not something that I favored with the Airplane or even Hot Tuna. But he did have a sound. I think this is the point Johnny Barbada was on drums, yeah. David Freiberg was in the band, who had been in Quicksilver Messenger Service. I was at one of these shows at Winterland. This is 1973 or 4, I'm thinking. So this was recorded at Winterland and Auditorium Theater in Chicago. I was at one of the Winterland shows. I believe this is 73. So I love the band. They were at their peak live in 67, 68, and 69. Just incredible. But Marty Ballin had left the group by then, and it's unfortunate because Jefferson Airplane burned brightly, and then the downward spiral somewhat. I'm not a huge fan of the Starship. I do like the Paul Kantner Jefferson Starship album with Grace Slick, Blows Against the Empire, but it's not really a Jefferson Starship album. It's an expanded science fiction piece under listing. That's the first time Kantner called it Starship. So whole different band, two different completely different bands. Not something that I'm into as much, but there you go. I realize here, 3 out of these records were San Francisco bands or Bay Area bands. And of course, the great Moby Grape. I love this cover, one of my favorite covers. This is their second album. It's not as good as the first, but this is an album that has grown in stature for me and for a lot of other people. It came with a second disc called Grape Jam, which was a jam. David Rubinson produced this, and that jam record, which had Mike Bloomfield and Al Cooper on it, and just was really a jammy record. Not unlike Apple Jam that was a third LP with George Harrison's All Things Must Pass in 1970. This is, I believe, 1968 record. Again, a beautiful cover. Motorcycle Irene is on here, which is a cool song. Murder in My Heart for the Judge, which is pretty amazing. And side 1, you have to literally get up, and Arthur Godfrey, the old crooner and vaudevillian MC, introduces that song, and you have to get up and turn your record at 78 RPM. So my downstairs record plays 78, my old dual turntable, German turntable. Upstairs, it doesn't. So if I want to play that cut, I need to play it down here. But Moby Grape, wow. San Francisco, and it has a fast version of Naked If I Want To. They had done a slow version on their first album and a faster, more upbeat rock version on this album. I think Bob Cato did the cover artwork here. Vanilla Fudge exploded out of nowhere in 1967 with their prog, classical, heavy organ, elongated songs, covers of Keep Me Hanging On, the Supreme song. They do Ticket to Ride on their first album, the Beatles song. They do several covers, and that's a great record, Vanilla Fudge. This is, I believe, the second record, 68. Now, critics and most people hated this record. I love this record for a purpose. When I was young, I had this real little tape recorder. I used to cut and montage, make ambient tapes, sort of, spoken word, music, rock and roll, overdubs, backwards tape loops. It was my kind of a hobby I was into. And this became sort of an archive record for me, sort of a resource record. There's a lot of voices here. It's sort of a historic record. And it is called The Beat Goes On. And of course, they use the Sonny Bono song, The Beat Goes On, throughout it. And these different sketches of different periods in music, like 18th century Mozart, Old Black Joe, sort of slave Southern music, Don't Fence Me In, Cole Porter, 12th Street Rag, In the Mood, Hound Dog, Jerry Lieber and Stoller, and Beatles, I Want to Hold Your Hand, Beatles, I Feel Fine, and Beatles, Ticket to Ride, and She Loves You. It's almost like the kind of thing they'd sent to the moon when they're trying to represent all kinds of music. So interesting record, problematic for the most part, but I kind of like it. It's an unusual record. I play this a lot, and again, I used it as a resource. FDR is on here doing a speech when the Japanese attacked Pearl Harbor. There's Winston Churchill. There's John F. Kennedy. Ask not what your country can do for you. What can you do for your country? Unlike our current president that really basically says, I'm asking you what you can do for me, and I will do whatever I want for me, because it's all about me. FDR, John Kennedy, Barack Obama, George W. Bush, George Herbert Walker Bush, Bill Clinton didn't just care about themselves. So either does Joe Biden. Of course, they got a little ego. You have to if you're going to be president. But vote early, vote as soon as you can, and the beat goes on. So a little low-key Mazzy here. Mazzy Loves You. Out.